Today on Experts Showcase, our special guest is Alex Khrapov, coming straight from Spain, talking about turning your coaching practice into a thriving business. Alex, welcome to Expert Showcase. So glad you could join us, and we're working on our international connection here. How are you today?
I'm fine, Mark. Fine, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for inviting. Nice.
Our pleasure to have you. So tell me just real quick overview of what we're going to cover in today's episode about turning your coaching practice into a thriving business.
Well, my main business is that I'm running the business school for coaches. So over the last 8 years, I'm helping coaches to start up their business in a proper, decent way with the whole foundation which every business is supposed to have. So as a result, I have lots of experience, and I have information which I think will allow us to help lots of coaches around the world if we provide that information precisely. So there are certain ways which people could improve their business startup.
Excellent. So, and in preparing for the show, we talked about the fact that we're going to focus on three main takeaways for our audience today. So I'll just review those very quickly. So we're going to first talk about analyze and demonstrate where your client is at their starting point. Then we're going to talk about packaging your services in a product-like structural offer. And then we're going to talk about monitoring, measuring, so that you can demonstrate results and progress. Those all sound like very important parts of building a real business structure here. So let's take that from the top, Alex. You say analyze and demonstrate where your client is at the starting point. What do you advise the coaches that you're working with?
Yeah, the major problem with the coaching business, I would say, with the intention to sell coaching, is that it is quite intangible thing by nature. We are talking about psychology. So the coaches need to really pay attention how to shift and what they can do in order to make their offer as tangible as possible. And the market operates in a tangible way. When people pay money, they want to see what they're buying. So analyze. It's a first step which coaches need to pay attention to, because we're supposed to, through our services, to move our clients from where they are at the present moment to where they would like to be. So, and analyzing and fixing and demonstrating where the client is, it's totally essential, because without it, it will be very difficult to demonstrate results, very difficult to show the progress, and as a result, eventually, very difficult to sell services.
That makes absolute sense, Alex. I mean, if I envision the coaching process as a physical journey, I mean, I want to see on a map where my starting point is so that I can measure the progress towards my destination, right? That makes perfect sense.
Exactly, and if we skip that part, if we are not defining the gap, by gap I mean the defining the distance and defining the real areas which your client is supposed to pass through with your help, then it's going to be really difficult to convert your potential client into the real one, or actually, to demonstrate the result of your work with the client which you're working with. So you need to have some kind of methodology and spend really decent time of analyzing and demonstrating where your client is. So that's pretty much what the first clue, how to make, yeah.
And so when you're doing that with your clients, or when you're coaching coaches to do this, are we talking about a written plan or certain tools that you use? I mean, how do you try to make this tangible? Because you're right, it's very intangible.
It's a perfect question, Mark, because I am in the past, I came from science. I mean, in the past, I was initially educated as a nuclear physicist. I did my PhD in nuclear physics in all times. And so as a result, when I came 9 years ago in the coaching and training industry, I was very concerned. My mind, scientific mind, was thinking, okay, how we can make it more measurable, tangible. So I came up with several tools You could find those tools in our new website. I call it createmykey.com. And the idea of the tools is that you could send your client to some kind of assessment page, and after 10-15 minutes of spending time and answering questions, the software will generate the visual picture in the form of key, which will show precisely where your client is at starting point. And that's the main tool which I'm offering for coaches and trainers and consultants to use. And actually, it's free to use on our website. So
that's a good price, Alex. People are going to like that.
Exactly.
Well, that's excellent. All right, that sounds perfect. So people are going to we'll review the website name when we wrap up, and just to make sure people get it and have a chance to write it down. So yes, make it in that analyze step concrete. So let's move on to the next really important point, I think, which is package your services as a product-like structural offer. So how do you advise the coaches you work with to do this step?
Yeah, that particular point came from realization over the years, like the last 8 years. I see the problem over and over again, and the reason, I would say, the reason rooted into the coaching education, because majority of coaches in their coaching certification courses, they are taught that they can coach anyone about anything, and as a result, after being graduated, they're trying to sell coaching hours.
Right.
And this is a really tough task on the market, because no one in the market is searching to buy coaching hours.
Right.
I mean,
that's not the product, right?
Yeah, exactly. But that's what coaches are trying to do, because that's how they were taught. So that's why I see the second point. It's extremely important to forget what you've been taught in the coaching, certification course, and see the potential business transaction from your client's perspective. Clients are looking to solve the problem, very concrete, precise problem. So we need to offer not coaching hours, but we need to offer solution. And that solution is supposed to be shaped in as much product-like, tangible way as possible. So that's what that particular second point is all about. We need to sell workshops, programs, which has duration, which has a sequential, following or steps, something which people would make sense, to buy, and they have a very clear perception that they bought the product.
Right. Yeah, I think we think very much alike, Alex. I mean, Chris and I in our work are constantly trying to get people to focus on the problem. It's what is the core problem that your client has, and how can you teach a solution, essentially, because nobody cares about anything else. I want my pain to go away, right? I mean, that's what I'm searching for. So excellent.
Precisely.
So you help the coaches you're working with really kind of create this mentality of, no, you've got to create a structure, a package, a product format so that people can relate to it. Again, really kind of segues from your first point, which is about making things that are intangible feel tangible and concrete. Now I know what I'm paying for, right? So
yes, precisely.
Excellent.
I'm not going to sell hours. I'm saying I'm selling solution, and
right.
I'm selling it in a very tangible way. That's the idea.
I think that is excellent. So let's then move on to, again, another critical point. I can tell you're coming from a science background, and it really is going to pay off, I think, for the people that are working with you. So monitor, measure, and demonstrate the results of the progress. So this is obviously a logical flow from where we started in terms of analyzing where you are. Now we're going to measure and monitor. So how do you advise coaches to implement this phase?
Yeah, Mark, as I mentioned, I created specific tools which make a snapshot where your client is at starting point. Mm-hmm. And what I usually do is I'm asking my clients in the end of our journey, after 2, 3, 4 months of work, I'm asking them to take the same assessment again.
Okay.
Anyway, and after that, because as I mentioned, the report comes in a shape of key, and the key where each tooth represents certain level of problems. I mean, the higher the tooth, the bigger the problem is. So when our clients take in the assessment second time and the key comes toothless, that's a demonstration of the job is done, and so the clients are happy. So, of course, reaching results which your client looking for to reach, it's one thing. But to demonstrate also that you've done a job and all the problematic areas are resolved, like to have something tangible in their hands, it's an essential part of that, of the deal on a transaction, business transaction which took place between you and your client. And it can easily be done using, for example, our tools. But I'm sure that if it's not our tools, at least every coach is supposed to remember that in the end of the journey, you need to demonstrate results.
Right. Right. To go back to my silly analogy, I mean, if we're taking a map, I mean, you're sitting there circling the beginning point, you're then marking the milestones along the journey, and then you're circling the end point, and you're able to say, hey, look, this is where we've gone. And so using your key tool, I mean, you're giving someone a before and after snapshot, and maybe even a snapshot along the way to kind of measure that progress, demonstrate. And I think that's going to make people feel that, again, that tangible creation out of an intangible process. So this is excellent stuff, Alex. I'm really glad we've had you on the show, because I think people are going to really value and benefit from getting connected with you and really building their coaching practice. So to wrap up this thought here, so we've been talking about how to really turn your coaching practice into a thriving business, and we have hit three major keys to success here, to use the keyword again. So analyze, demonstrate where your client is at the starting point, package your services as a product-like structural offer, and then monitor, measure, demonstrate the results to that person so that they really are going to be happy with the progress they've made and the service that you've delivered. So did I summarize that pretty well, Alex?
Yeah, precisely, Mark. And it seems like a very, very simple thing. It seems like almost obvious things. But when people are getting into the business, they easily forget about those, I would say, essential points, which make your client retained, and make your client to come back to you, make your client to spread the word about your services. All those things are extremely important in order to make it work. Because our business is a service-based business, and it's based on a word of mouth. So.
Absolutely. Well, you're right. It's simple when you hear it, but that's the beauty of it. Is that people often need a simple structure that they can really kind of dig into and follow. So it's excellent. So let me tell people how they can really follow up with you, Alex, and get in touch, because I think you have a depth and wealth of information to share with coaches. So the best place to connect with Alex is at his main website, which is headwaycoachinggroup.com. So headwaycoachinggroup.com. But these tools that Alex is talking about, he's building a new site which is called createmykey.com. So createmykey.com is where you can connect there. So make sure you get in touch with Alex and follow up. Check out his websites. I think you're going to find a ton of great information if you are looking to really build a successful coaching practice. Alex, thank you for being our guest today on Expert Showcase. It's been wonderful to have you, and we've even managed to hold a connection to Spain here.
Thank you very much, Mark, for having me. It's a pleasure. Thank you.
And another great Expert Showcase episode. Chris, what should people do right now?
Yeah, if you're watching this and you're a coach or consultant, imagine what it would do for you and your business if you were a guest on Experts Showcase. And here's the best part. Other than possibly increasing your business, an appearance on Expert Showcase is free. We give you a copy of your episode so you can use as marketing collateral, and we give you a coaching session to go along with it to tell you how you can best market your episode and other tips and tricks about your business. So what you want to do is head on over to expertshowcase.com, click on the big yellow apply button, and apply to be our next featured guest on the Expert Showcase. Now, if you're a coach or consultant and you've already imagined what having your own internet talk show will do for you, then we want you to head to VideoContent.Agency and check us out, check our packages out, and get in contact with us. Let's see if we're a good fit, and let's see if we're the ones to produce you and make you the next star and have your own internet talk show. And until next time, Mark, anything else?
I couldn't have said it any better, so just do what he said.